In this class, our focus is to discuss two topics. First, the principles of data protection, and the second topic is the rights of data subjects. Let's begin with the principles of data protection. The definition of data protection is concerned with protecting individuals against the misuse of this information. And personal data is information about a living individual, including expressions of opinion about the individual. Everyone responsible for using personal data has to follow strict rules called data protection principles. And for personal data, the information is not only limited to the expressions of opinion about the individual. It includes like the telephone numbers, credit card information, even the personal number of a person, like the identity number, the account data, appearance, the custom number or addresses are all personal data that we described. In 2018, the General Data Protection Regulation, or called GDPR, is legislated in the European Union. For this GDPR, it is incorporated into the United Kingdom law, and there are 8 aims or key highlights under this GDPR to make sure the information is used fairly and lawfully and transparently. And next, the information should be used for specific reason or explicit purposes. Third, the information is used in a way that is adequate, relevant, and limited to only what is necessary. That means the information gathered should not exceed what the information used in the area. For example, if a company gathers the information for a registration, it only got the information such as the phone number, the name of the person, and that's it. It no needs to have the other information. If say there's no payment, then you don't need to have the credit card information from the person. And the fourth point about the information is accurate and where necessary kept up to date. It is an organization responsibility to keep the information up to date and accurate, and also the organization should ensure the information is kept for no longer than is necessary. That means once the information gathered for the period of time, say 3 months, after the activity or the period of service ended, then the organization should dispose the information and should not keep the information for longer than that. And the information is handled in a way that ensures appropriate security, including protection against unlawful or unauthorized processing, access, loss, destruction, or damage. That means an organization gathers the information from its customers or from its vendors. It has to ensure the information kept in a very secure way. There's no hackers to steal the information, for example, or unauthorized processing. So it's an organization responsibility to keep it under this GDPR. The seventh point is the information should be, or a data user is responsible for the security and protection of data against unauthorized access, alteration, destruction, disclosure, or accidental loss. And the final point here is personal data should not be transferred to another country outside the European Economic Area unless that country ensures an adequate level of protection for the rights and freedoms of data subjects in relation to the processing of personal data. That means any country outside European Economic Area should be highly restricted for any information within this area to be distributed out, unless the country has the same level of security as European Economic Area or the same standard. In general, the GDPR is applied to the European zone, or what we call here is European Economic Area. Next, for some sensitive information, there are legal protection for them because, as said, they are very sensitive and highly confidential. Examples include race, ethnic background, religious belief, political opinions, trade union memberships, genetics, biometrics, health. All this information, because we can use this information to identify a person, so they are very sensitive and should be protected by law in many countries. Sex life or orientation. Next, we talk about your rights of data subjects, because your rights is very important as well. So we talk about the rights of data subjects, and in 2018 there's a big change. It's not only about GDPR, because the GDPR has already incorporated into the UK's law. Then there was a Data Protection Act 2018, which is implemented in the United Kingdom. As said, everyone is responsible for using personal data. They have to follow strict rules called data protection principle, which we had already mentioned. And for those information user, they must make sure the information is used fairly, lawfully, and transparently. This principle we have just mentioned. And here we talk about your rights and individual rights under this Data Protection Act 2018. For you have the right to find out what information the government and other organizations store about you. So listen carefully about your rights on data subjects. Your rights include, first, be informed about how your data is being used. That means you have the right to know how is your data being used by the organization you provide your personal information. And second, you have the right to access your personal data. Next, you have the right to make sure the organization to update the incorrect data or information. And you have the right to ask for, erase the data kept. And also you have the right to stop or restrict the processing of your data of any organization. And for data portability, it means that you have the right to get and reuse your data for different services. The final right is about object to how your data is processed in certain circumstances. So you have to make sure you understand well about your right on any organizations using your personal information.